So I'm going to be planting peas, not right away, but in a week or two, peas in this tub garden, what I call my tub garden. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer on the screen, and because every time I show this garden, these raised beds, I have to explain what it is, and I get comments, so I've decided to start putting a disclaimer across the screen every time I show my tub garden. That saves me a lot of time trying to tell people what this tub garden is. But as you can see, over the years, there's been a lot of compaction. That right there is probably 5 inches from the top. I burned it off the other day with my torch, my big weed burner torch, and if you don't have one of those, boy, you ought to get one. I mean, they are really, really good at burning off weeds and stuff like that. So I'll put a link to a torch below the video for you to look at. But a weed torch does a great job. So right now what I need to do, because I think I've got enough compost, and we'll find out in a minute, but I think I've got enough compost to come in here and fill these up, or at least, within an inch or so of the top. And it's going to take quite a bit of compost. I'll dig it up with my tractor. I'll show you my piles of compost in just a minute. And we've got some fire ant issues here. What I will do is spread my Advion out in the aisles here, out in the walkways, and that should take care of the fire ant problems. So let me go show you my compost. So this is one of my piles of compost. This is one made strictly out of wood chips. You can still see some wood chips in it. And that is a pile that is nowhere near finished. And I'm going to be using that as an experiment this year on my containers. I'll show you that in another video. But this is my compost that I'll be using, strictly wood chips that have been composted probably at least over around a year probably. And I've turned them over a few times, and that helps with the composting process. But we're going to pick it up with the front end loader, bring it over there, and start shoveling it in. Me on the end of a shovel. Doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but needs to be done. Well, about 2 hours later, that looks pretty darn good. I got a bunch of pile up here. I didn't smooth that out like I wanted to, dadgummit. I've already taken my rake and everything back in the barn. Supposed to get a good rain tomorrow. It'll stamp some of it down, pack some of it down, and may have some gaps and stuff, but it's all I'm gonna do this year, so it's all that's necessary this year. I will show you in a week or two when I decide to plant the peas, probably purple hull and zipper cream peas. Zipper cream for sure, and probably purple hull to go along with those. So it looks good. Like I say, this is not finished compost. It's not bad, but you can see some sticks in it, a few, and some wood chips, small wood chips and stuff. But by and large, it ain't too bad. And it ought to do well. The corn is doing well in it. I'll show you that in a video pretty soon. I expect the peas to do well here again, because they've done well in the past. They've, really done well. Every time I've planted peas here, I planted double rows, 2 rows here. And they've gotten so big, they didn't produce as many peas as I thought they should, but boy, they produced the foliage and the vines and such. So I may just do single row. These rows are 50 feet long. I know I probably didn't say that, but right at 50 feet long. And so that'd be 2 rows, 2 50-foot rows of zipper cream peas and 2 50-foot rows of purple hull peas. Now, in the past also, I have what you call a wide row, where you just basically scatter your seed out there. You got seed everywhere in there, and that was a little too much. So maybe that's what I'm thinking of when I say they all fell over and got big and huge and fell over. But so let me just I don't know, I'm gonna think on it, and I may do double rows, 2 double rows at 50 feet long. So I don't know, I may do that. Just hadn't decided yet, but I will. I'll run a drip irrigation tape right down the middle, so planting on either side really makes sense since I'll have the tape in the middle. I don't know, that's probably what I'll do. But it looks pretty, looks good, and this will be all I need to do this for the next several years until it packs down again, kind of compacts a little bit with just time and wear, and you know, pulling up some of the plant residue that's in it. When you pull it up, you lose some of the soil. So just over the years, you do lose some of it. Initially, I planted this with, I went and bought peat moss and potting mix and compost and just sacks of it. I didn't have any. I didn't make my own compost then. And so this was a pretty, now it wasn't very expensive back then, but it was still a pretty expensive garden to put in. But it has, it's done well for, I don't know, I've probably had it 10 years, 12. I know I've had it 10 years. Probably more like 12 or 13, 14 years. It's done me well. I think I have probably paid for all my stuff with veggies. That's what it looks like right now. It looks pretty, looks good, and we're gonna expect some peas in here soon. This will be my before shot. When the peas come up and start looking good, I'll use this as a before shot of the before and after. We're tired, dadgum. I don't mean to be on the end of a shovel. That's tough for an old man. All right, we're going.